I needed to come home now, though the word home felt like a cruel joke. 3 years had passed since I slipped out that door, unnoticed by the very people who should have cared. My mother, who treated me like a tolerated inconvenience. My siblings, who absorbed whatever narrative suited them. And especially my father, whose absence of attention had been absolute. Yet today, his voice over the phone betrayed panic, speaking as though I had disappeared only moments ago and demanding instant obedience he had always expected. I pressed the phone to my ear, letting him breathe his frantic fear into it while I said nothing, relishing the quiet spread of anxiety he could not control. At first, everything appeared normal. Sunday dinners, forced smiles, cheap jokes at my expense. But beneath this thin veneer simmered a cold hierarchy where love was currency and I had none. I learned early that silence was safer than honesty, shrinking myself to avoid being a target, understanding the rules, yet foolishly hoping they might change. The exact moment I realized I did not truly exist for them still burned in my memory. Returning from school one day, trophy in hand, suitcase packed from a competition, and being asked, "Did you bring milk?" They had not even noticed my achievements. That was the day my exit began to take shape. Betrayal had a quiet, insidious form in my family, manifesting not in lies or cheating, but in absence, so deep it hollowed me out. Birthdays passed without acknowledgement, paychecks were absorbed into household expenses, conversations revolved around me but never included me. The final blow came via a bank statement showing my father had opened a line of credit in my name without intention to pay. I stared at it, stomach cold and steady, understanding that emotion was useless with people who thrived on it. So I meticulously documented every account, every forged signature, every call log, consulting one attorney, then another, confirming what I already knew. Legally, my father had entwined his financial survival with my credit. For months, I played the obedient ghost, letting him dig, appearing oblivious, absent yet convenient, all while I traced every fraudulent move. Then, one quiet morning before sunrise, I packed my car, erased my forwarding address, and disappeared. They never called, never reached out until today. My plan had never been revenge, at least not initially. It was freedom. I froze the credit line, reported the fraud, filed cases, set alerts. The bank traced the trail unmistakably back to him. I stayed silent, letting the weight build slowly, inch by inch, until fees, ballooning debt, and flagged accounts began fracturing his reputation. When he finally snapped on the phone, demanding I come home and fix the situation, confessing unknowingly, I replied calmly, "I'm not coming home." Silence fractured his authority, and when he barked about being my father, I answered, "Exactly." "And you never acted like one." I could see his face, red with anger and confusion, realizing I was not his extension or shield. "You fix this," he whispered, anger now slinking into fear. I allowed him that fear, a quiet satisfaction settling in as I reminded him, mentally, that he had ignored me when I left. But now he would notice the consequences. Hanging up, I stood by my window, gazing at the city lights flickering below, reflecting on a life I had built without them. Leaving had felt like victory, but being forgotten had been the wound. Being needed, the weapon. Being untouchable, the revenge. My father had spent his life pretending I did not matter, yet now every consequence bore my silence, and for the first time, I felt whole, unbroken, and finally free.